Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. I am here with my friend Grant Anderson, and today we're going to talk about everything that he's doing inside of the real estate market and his company and business. But before we get into that, guys, here at Investor Fuel, we help real estate investors, service providers, and real estate entrepreneurs 2 to 5x their businesses to allow them to build the businesses they've always wanted and to allow them to live the lives they've always dreamed of. So without further ado, Grant, my man, welcome to the show. I'm excited to talk with you. I know we just spent about 10 minutes before this just getting to know your background, and it sounds like you have a lot of cool stuff going on that I know the audience is going to love to hear about. So before we get started, the floor is yours. How about you just share a little bit about yourself and how you got here?
Yeah, great. Thanks, Christian. Thanks for having me. I know I met Mike not too long ago at one of the Investor Fuel events. I went to Investor Fuel Live. I work with Real Wealth, and we help provide turnkey rental properties throughout the country to our members. They're all single-family home investors, and we partner with people on the ground that are actually the ones doing the work. They're the ones buying the properties, rehabbing them, and then selling them to our members, or new construction. We also have a lot of new construction. And typically those teams have a property management aspect to it, because as we know, owning rental properties, especially from afar, you definitely need a good property management company to help out with that as well. And then I also do investments myself. I own a portfolio of rental properties in Indianapolis. Started out in Sacramento, California. Started building up some properties there, did some 1031 exchanges. And then now we have our whole portfolio in Indianapolis, and we do the BRRRR strategy, which obviously I know a lot of people do. And it's a really good way to increase your portfolio with the least amount of money into each of the deals, and that's kind of what we did as well.
Very cool. I appreciate the introduction, Grant. That's awesome, man. So in your property management, right, what you're doing, I mean, where do you feel like the gaps are with property management right now? Why does someone need a property management company?
Well, if you are afar from the property, it is imperative that you have at least a property management company or somebody on the ground that, one, knows the laws in that area, and two, understands how to get a qualified tenant into your property, being able to manage that tenant while they're through the tenancy. If anything breaks, having those boots on the ground to be able to go do that. I've actually always kind of managed my own properties, so I understand that, but I was always in Indianapolis, and until about a year and a half ago, my wife and I actually moved into our RV, and that's where I am right now. We kind of travel around the country, so it was imperative that I had people on the ground that actually are the ones doing the maintenance stuff and things like that. So
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
Doing it in your own backyard is obviously a lot easier, as you don't necessarily need a property management. And I always recommend people who start off to say, okay, it's nice if you can manage your own, because then you can learn what a property management actually goes through to manage that property. And it is difficult and it is different. So it is nice to learn about it and then pass it off to somebody if you're like, I'm not built for this.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You got to hire the experts, right? That's the
Yep.
way to go. So
Yeah.
you can work on the things
Yeah.
that actually matter in your business, right? So you can keep growing. That's
Yep.
what it is. So cool.
That is.
So why don't you talk about, your process for recruiting and vetting, and managing your property teams nationwide? I'm really interested to hear about that.
Yeah, so I am one of the property teams managers for Real Wealth. And basically what we do, my wife and I do the same thing. So we go around and meet people that are turnkey, either they're rehabbers, they're doing a turnkey, they're getting it all ready to rent, and then they're selling it. Sometimes those properties are either already leased or they don't have to be leased. Our members right now in the way that the world is working, our members are really liking the ones that are already rented, because as we know, the rental market seems to be kind of softening a little bit in certain areas. So we want to make sure that they have the least amount of variables, and rent is one of them. If you can have something fully leased, our members are eating those up because there's already a tenant in place. They already know what the rents are going to be. They don't have to wait 60 days or 90 days or however long it's going to take to get it rented out. And then they don't have to go with like price drops or anything like that. So if it's already leased, they already know what those income will be. And then now they just have to figure out what the costs are, which are the property management fees, the insurance, and property taxes, and if there are any HOAs. And then we also work with some people who are doing new builds. Sometimes they're in a rent-to-own or rental community, like a build for rent community, and sometimes they're infill lots. We like to work with the ones that are in infill lots because typically those are in nicer neighborhoods, but we're able to work with all of them.
You're able to work with all of them. Very nice. Very cool,
Yep.
man. Very cool. So,
Yeah.
the potential investors that you're working with right now, I mean, I know you mentioned you're educating them on some really, interesting key investing strategies, right? So cash flow, appreciation. Why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we have members. We have about 60,000 members within Real Wealth. And obviously not all of them are active and not all of them are going to be buying, but a lot of them are from out of state. So they're in California, they're in New York, they're in Colorado, some of those areas where the numbers don't really work in their backyard. And so we're encouraging people to go outside of their backyard and say, hey, look, I can go from California, right? We all know that tenant landlord laws are in the favor of the tenant more than the landlord. So that is one thing that we kind of look at when we're choosing different markets that we're going to be in, but also what the team is on the ground, what type of industries are happening in that area. But our members really want to see that Real Wealth is doing their due diligence in making sure that these teams that we're bringing are quality, are making sure that they're having good properties. And a lot of them are doctors, attorneys, business owners that don't have the time to go invest. And obviously, a lot of the investor fuel people are probably the active investors, right? We're not really looking for the active investors. We're looking for the more passive ones that are like too far away. They're willing to buy it at full price, and obviously every investor and everybody likes to have some equity in it at the end of the day. But as long as they're not feeling like they're paying too much for the property, meaning over what the appraised value is, then they're willing to pay that because they understand that they're buying a fully turnkey, ready to rent property as compared to a lot of active investors who are going out and burning like I was, buying a property, doing that. That's a lot of work for somebody who is extremely busy in their own personal business, that the way that they make their money. So now they're building wealth by buying rental properties.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency. It's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
That makes a lot of sense, right? I mean, that's the whole key, is to provide and build wealth, right? And that's the thing, if you want to be on the beach one day or the whole week, then there you go. this is what you should do, right? To be able to accomplish that dream. And also it's about being able to provide for your family, right? I mean, I'm sure everybody else and on this audience as well, that's what we're all here for, right? Take care of our family for the next 20, 30 years and the next generation to come, right? So that's awesome, Grant.
Yeah.
So why don't you talk a little bit about your experience, right? I mean, you've been doing this for a long time. I mean, how did you even get into this? I mean,
I started in real estate in 2001. I bought my first house. I was still in college. I did a house hack. And before that, I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, like a lot of us. I go, I want to do this. I want to invest in real estate. And so the first thing I did is I went and I approached my dad and I said, hey, Dad, I have an idea of buying this house. I have enough money to pay the 3.5% down at that time, FHA loan. But I didn't have the income because I was still in college. And I said, I have two buddies that want to move in with me. Let me try this out. And my dad, luckily I had set some stones up in prior in my life that my dad knew I was responsible. And he said, yeah, I'll sign the dotted line with you and help you get your property. And then about 6 months later, I refinanced him off the loan because I didn't want him to be responsible for anything that I may have messed up. And then that was my feet on the ground and starting to learn about real estate, renting out the house that I was living in. Then as I got married, I kicked out my roommates and now I didn't have any rental properties. So I went out and bought a couple of out of state from California. I bought a couple of properties in Oklahoma and I just started using the cash that I had. And I go, man, this doesn't work out very well. I can only buy like 1 or 2 properties. So I started looking into how I can invest in real estate a little bit more, started doing some wholesaling and got into some flips, did a couple of those. And then that's when I really started picking up, okay, I could buy a rental property, fix it up. And this was before I knew anything about the BRRRR strategy. I had thought of it, kind of myself before that, Bigger Pockets was doing it and stuff like that. So I just said, I'll go out and do it and rehab a house. And then the first one we did, we got 20 grand more than we put into it. And I was like, hey, this is successful.
Yeah.
But then obviously not all of them do that. So it was a great first start because it got me really thinking, wow, I could really do this. So we started, and that was out in California. And then about 2015 and 16, the prices started going up a little bit higher than rents. And so even doing the BRRRR strategy, I was like barely making any cash flow. So I decided to look at other markets. And at first I was investing in Indianapolis without moving out there. I started doing it from afar, and I really learned that is a hard thing to do because you really have to trust the contractors. I got screwed by contractors. I got screwed by some real estate agents and probably some of the wholesalers that I ended up buying from. But it was a big learning experience. So I convinced my wife that it would be a good idea to move out to Indianapolis. And so we could increase more of our portfolio. So that's what we started doing. And since then, we've been mostly doing the BRRRR strategy. And sometimes we do some flips every so often. But mostly we like to do the BRRRR strategy because we know that long-term wealth with rental properties.
Wow, that's incredible, man. So, I mean, the BRRRR strategy, is that something do you recommend to everybody to do the BRRRR strategy if they're just looking to get into real
Um,
estate, right? I mean, what would you say?
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
Yeah, I would say yes, but they obviously have to be able to fulfill that
Right.
contract side.
Mm-hmm.
Like they have to kind of understand, okay, not every property is going to be just paint and carpet, right? Or
Yep.
paint and flooring. So they really have to know what they're getting into. And hopefully they already have a contractor who can walk properties with them and give them pricing. Because
Gotcha.
otherwise they could spend more than they would have if they bought it on from the MLS or just already a turnkey property. But if you are thinking about rental properties, even if
Mm-hmm.
you do make a mistake, let's say you do pay more, you have time on your hand. If you
Sure.
are a flipper, you don't have that time, right? You need to sell it at the end of the day to get your money back to go do something else or to move on to the next project, and you can't afford to put $10,000 into it. But as a rental property, maybe if you lost that $10,000 up front and you held on to it for the next 10, 15 years, you'll probably make a lot more than just that $10,000 back.
That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense, Grant. I appreciate you breaking that down. A lot of people are, I'm telling you guys, it's $1 million worth of game right here that Grant's giving out. So, Grant, keep it coming, man. So, I mean,
Thanks.
I'm really interested to hear too, Grant. I mean, you've been a pioneer, a leader, especially with Real Wealth. I mean, it sounds like you guys just have so many great systems and you're able to optimize, and help these people at such a high level. I mean,
Yeah.
how did you build those skills and what type of systems are you guys using in place for that? I mean, why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So, all of my past experiences doing rehabs and stuff like that helps
Yeah.
me with the job that I do now because one of the things we do is we really do vet the area that the companies are in. So our property teams are all in areas that we feel are growing, have population growth, increased, hopefully also increased appreciation over time,
Mhm.
and having it in an area where rents can actually float a property. So not all of our teams are in, or all of our teams are in areas where at least the numbers work out and they break even. So that's
Mm.
one of the things that we really look at is the first we look at the properties themselves. What kind of properties are they? All of our members like B, A properties. They're not typically looking, maybe high C, low C, D areas, they're not looking for those. It's a lot more risky for them, so they're looking for the higher quality product.
Mhm.
And then so we just make sure that they cash flow. If they cash flow, then we start looking into the market. Then we go out and vet the teams. So we look at their projects, drive by their projects, make sure what are they providing to our members, how do they work, will they fit in within Real Wealth's culture. Our culture is really like transparency, making sure that everybody is on the up and up. There's a lot of people out there trying to buy turnkey rental properties that things aren't in the, everything looks good, but then you turn on the faucet and there's no water coming out because the plumbing isn't hooked up. Those aren't the types of people that we want to work with because we
Mhm.
want to build that long-term relationship with them. We want to make sure that our members are taken care of. So obviously things are going to happen within real estate. Obviously things are going to happen from a property team standpoint, like, they're going to forget to do something or wasn't on the scope of work. Well, how do you handle that afterwards with our member,
Sure.
right? Once we give them and they're bought the property and they go in and they say, oh man, yeah, this, a sewer line on a brand new construction wasn't hooked up, so they were having
Oof.
back up into the house. And we're like, okay, well, what's happening? Well, the sewer line wasn't hooked up, and the property team went in and made sure that that was fixed, even though it was really the city utilities that should have done that. So those are
Ah,
the types of things that we want to make sure that people are being taken care of. And even though they didn't have to do that, they understand the relationship with the buyer, because the buyer is going to be a repeat buyer. If they have good experience, they're going to continue to buy over and over from the property team. And they understand that real wealth in general, if they have a bad experience with, say, the Dallas team, then they're not going to go buy something from the Jacksonville team, right? So
yeah.
the teams themselves understand that as well. We also have like mastermind type stuff where we get the teams together to talk about what's going on in their markets, what they're doing with their members, property management, all of the aspects of real estate, so that they can learn from each other, just like Investor Fuel does, just like the same types of things. But we want to make sure that they're understanding that rental side of things, because I know Investor Fuel focuses a lot on the people who are selling to
Yeah.
other homeowners. We want to make sure that they understand the other side, selling to other investors.
Got it. Got it. Got it. That pieces it all together right there. I mean, that's huge.
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible, man. So, I mean, Grant, I mean, somebody that, because obviously there's so many people in our audience, right? People that are, doing 50 plus deals, property management, commercial real estate, apartment syndication, you name it, right? But the
Yeah.
beginners, right? I mean, how does someone build systems, right? How does someone learn how to hire, right? I mean, do you guys assist with anything like that? I mean, what does that look like? Like, what would you give
Not
advice on that?
not really. We don't Real wealth doesn't really help the people come up with the systems. We do help our members. So it's
Hmm.
free for members to join at realwealth.com.
Oh,
And
it's
so
free.
our
Cool.
members are
Okay.
able to go in. We have Kathy and Rich Vedke are both the co-founders of Real Wealth, and they're out there doing a lot of education and a lot
Ah,
of
okay.
um, things out in the market. Kathy is really good at studying the markets and looking at markets,
Mhm.
and she does a lot of work doing that. And then we also help to educate our members on buying a turnkey rental property. So
Mhm.
in anything that has to do with that, like tax advice, things like, we have partners that we deal with that. We have
Wow.
mortgage companies, we have insurance companies. So our members have kind of like a one-stop shop. And then for our property teams, a lot of that would be, if you don't have a system, I know the other property team that probably does. So
Uh-huh.
we have some property teams that are really good at AI, and they're like teaching other property teams how to have more AI included into their business, or how to hire, yeah, somebody a little bit better. We have some property teams that are better at property management, and then we have some property teams that are going through property management growing pains. And so we kind of connect the two of them together to make sure that they're able to help each other out and grow, one as people and as their company, but also that in turn will help Real Wealth grow as well.
Wow, Grant, I guess the real question is what you guys don't offer, right? Because it sounds like you guys
Yeah.
just do everything. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, this is the
I
guy
don't know that we do everything, but
yeah. That is
we
awesome,
typically
man. I
don't
mean,
we
that's
don't
incredible. That's the
yeah.
way it should be, right? I mean, it's like how can you provide as much value to the people you work with, right? The people that trust in you to work in business with, that's everything. And I feel like in
Yeah.
this industry, we need that more than ever, right? Because as you know,
Yeah.
there are some bad characters as in any industry.
Yep.
But this is what it needs to be about, right? If you teach a man to fish, teach him for a lifetime, right? And that's the thing. It's
Yeah.
how can you help other people get to the next level, and then you also advance yourself as a person as well in that process, right? So that's what it's about, man. Grant,
Yeah.
I appreciate you sharing everything with me, and I know the audience once again just got more than $1 million worth of game with that. I know I did, and but unfortunately we're running out of time. But Grant, I just want to give you my praise and thanks for
Yeah.
joining us today, and I'm going to give it back to you now. To if anyone wants to learn more about you, what you're working on, how can people work with you? where do they need to go? Where do they need to sign up? Because they need to.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. If you go to realwealth.com, if you want to become just a member and see some of the free education that Real Wealth puts out on buying rental properties specifically, just log in. You'll get connected. We have investment counselors that can help counsel somebody through. We have 15 different markets, so that is one of the biggest things, like picking out the different markets. So we have investments counselors to help everybody walk through the steps of buying their first rental property. If they're interested in becoming a property team, which is the ones that are providing the properties to our members, and Real Wealth typically gets a referral fee, they can still go to realwealth.com. And then if they click on other resources, there is a thing at the bottom that says become a property team. And if they click on that, they'll see all of the information that Real Wealth has out there as far as how we help our property teams and how we're able to get them to buy, selling more rental properties to our members. Even if you are somebody who is a new construction person or a flipper, it's not bad to have in the back pocket, hey, I can sell some of these to investors as well. And we encourage people to still sell it if they want to sell it on the open market to other people as well. That's fine. We just want to make sure that we're able to sell them to our members as well. So it kind of opens up the door. If the one side is slow, then hey, let's ramp up the other side. And it gives people a little bit more of other exit strategies as they're going along with their turnkey properties. And then if they can read through it, and then there's a little application. It's not really an application. It just submits their information that tells us about them, what their market is, what their experience is, and then a couple of sample pro formas. And then we will take it from there and we'll contact them and then usually set up a meeting.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thanks for breaking it down, Grant. We're also going to drop all those links in the description as well so people know exactly where to go for that. So that's going to be great. Awesome, guys. You heard it here first.
Awesome.
Once again, Grant, thank you so much for your time. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks, Christian.
I hope everyone enjoyed today's show. And as always, we'll see you on the next episode. Take care, everybody.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.